Hi guys, Mrs. H here. Today we're going to be looking at sex-linked traits. This is also called X-linked trait. They're both meaning the same thing, and so I'm going to walk you through this problem here. So if you notice on sex-linked traits, we're dealing with the sex chromosome. So we have for XX for female, and we have XY for male. Okay, notice there's no allele on the Y. Why? Because sorry, that's kind of funny. There's no gene or no allele on the Y chromosome for this trait, whatever the trait is. And in this one, we're actually looking at hemophilia and your clotting factors. So because that allele is not found on the Y chromosome, we don't put a subscript here. Okay, so there's never one. This is also why on sex-linked, we say the mother determines the male trait. So why? Because they're getting this from their father. So this male got this Y from the male. Moms, right, the female can only give X. So this X had to come from their mom. So for sex-linked traits, when we're talking about male color, our color blindness, hemophilia, male pattern baldness, these are all found on the X chromosome and not the Y. So the female, the moms of males determine what their what trait they'll have, what allele they'll have. So in this scenario, I have a female, XX, who is a carrier, which means she's heterozygous. She has one dominant trait, one recessive trait. Now, what trait are we dealing with on this one? H for hemophilia. So this means that this person has normal clotting factors, this female. Now, XY, this is the male. They have the dominant trait, so they again have the normal clotting factor. So we separate the X's and put them at the top, separate the X and Y, put them on the side, just like we've always done. So then we're going to go ahead and fill in the crosses or in the Punnett square. So on this, we want to make sure again that we can determine the difference between our X's and our Y's. We also want to make sure that we can see the subscripts up on the top. Like so. Okay, so let's determine the genotypes and the phenotypes of the offspring. So what are my possibilities, right? This doesn't mean it's guaranteed that I'm going to have 100% of my kids one way or 50%. It means each child has this possibility. So what is the possible genotype? What genes combination could my offspring have? So I have XX with 2 capital letters. No, that's not the same, that's not the same, and that's not the same. So I have 25% X capital H, X capital H. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other ones. And because I've done this enough times, I don't really have to refer back to my Punnett square, but you will have to. And if you don't, that's great, but definitely use it. That's why we do it. So now, what will these, based on these genotypes, what will these individuals look like? So what are the possible phenotypes of the offspring? Okay, so these two right here are both females. Both of them have the dominant trait. So 50% will be female with the clotting factor. Now, these both are male, but notice one has the dominant trait and one has the recessive trait. So 25% of my offspring could be male with the clotting factor. And 25% of my offspring could be male with hemophilia. Okay, so this female, though, right here, this is what we would call a carrier. Now, you couldn't see this. This isn't something you see in a phenotype. You don't see a carrier phenotype. So we put those together. So in this case, we have 50% of our offspring could be female. And then again, notice 50% of my population will be male, but males could be either have the clotting factor or they could have hemophilia. So I hope this explains how the sex-linked trait works. Not all traits are sex-linked. The ones that we look at for humans are hemophilia, color blindness, why am I going blank? Male pattern baldness. Now, there are others, and this isn't just for humans. Fruit flies, eye color for fruit flies is a sex-linked trait. And so in our practices, we're going to be doing both human sex-linked traits and fruit flies sex-linked trait. So make sure you're referring to this video to help you solve the problems. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Bye, guys.